Well, on Saturday, September the 10th at the famous Epsom Downs racecourse in Surrey, Niall Nugent will be taking on Jack Williams for the vacant regional middleweight crown. And tonight, on the Road to Glory series, I've travelled all the way down to the Kent Gloves Boxing Gym in Gillingham to talk to challenger Jack Williams as he prepares to meet his toughest challenge on the 10th against Niall Nugent. Well, as we edge closer to the big high-stakes promotion on Saturday the 10th of September, I'm delighted to be here at Kent Gloves, joined by Team Cullen, John, trainer, and fighter Jack Williams, as they prepare to face Niall Nugent on the big promotion. And gentlemen, it's great to see you. Obviously, I've been to the gym many times before, but ahead of fight night, how are you both feeling?
Well, I feel great. I'm not fighting, but you know, no. We're preparing. We've had a lot of good sparring. Jack's doing really well. You know, I can't ask for any more out of Jack. He done very well in his last fight. Very pleased with his last fight, and we're looking forward to this one.
Well, Jack, you're going to be taking on Niall Nugent. Last time out, we saw you against Ashley Feach. A great performance. Your first fight back in a long time. But after that win, sets up the showdown with Niall Nugent, who was also on the stand and deliver promotion bill that same night. But let's have a quick look back. I mean, as I say, first time back in the ring back in May. What was it like finally getting the gloves back on after such a long layoff?
It was exciting, I'd say. Yeah, no, it was really exciting to get back into it. You know, when you've been out for a while and then you come back into it, all the adrenaline and just the fun of it, really. Yeah.
I speak to a lot of the fighters, and you know, a lot of them say just going through the motions. You know, there's so many different elements and layers to a fight camp. You know, you've got the start of the camp. You know, your preparations. You're then trying to get yourself prepared for the weigh-in, the walkouts. You know, getting into that ring, and then finally sort of shaking off all of the sort of the cobwebs and actually getting down to the fight. So did it feel good finally to sort of to get back in there?
Yeah, it was good. I always struggled with my nerves before recently, but so going out there last time I wasn't nervous at all, which was nice. It was nice big experience. So so getting out there was lovely. Yeah, I loved it. I loved every minute of it.
Yeah, and it was a really good performance. I mean, you were obviously up against veteran Ashley Feach, who had a few more fights than yourself. It was his first fight back in a very long time, but like I say, it was a great performance. You came out with the convincing win, which sets us up for the big showdown with Niall Nugent. So first and foremost, I'm going to come to your coach John, because he's obviously the man behind the strategy, behind the sort of the preparation, and I think sometimes the coaches don't really sort of get to too much of the limelight, even though they're kind of behind the scenes. So first and foremost, John, like I say, you're going to be the man, obviously, in Jack's corner on the 10th. But talk us through a little bit about how preparations have gone so far, and also when you've been sort of looking at Nugent as an opponent, how have you kind of strategized, how you formulated what you do?
Well, what we've done, we had a look at the footage, and we've sort of taken bits and pieces. I'm not going to go too much into that, but we've taken bits and pieces out of the footage. And Jack's a very technical boxer. He's not had loads of experience, but he's had enough. He has been sparring with a lot of really good pros and amateurs, and again, we're sort of trying to look at where we can capitalise on where Noel falls down. Obviously not victory, but where he falls down, and trying to put things together, shots together that we know we can catch him with. And say with Jack, he's like a sponge. He soaks up and soaks up. My cousin, who is our other trainer here with us, he said to me one night, I've given Jack a combination to do. He said, and he's done it. And he said he's doing it, and I actually saw it in his last fight. So we can't ask for any more from Jack as a coach, just to take on board what we're telling him. Preparation-wise, it's been fantastic this time round. We've had lots of sparring, but also we've had lots of conditioning and strength and conditioning as well. We've got a few pro coaches here which have given us a few pointers, different bits and pieces. Jack's been in with a couple of good pros, and again, have given him pointers, as well as us as coaches, what he could do this, he could do that, which has really what moved you on, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, like I say, it's a big platform, it's a big stage, and Niall Nugent is definitely you're going to be your toughest fight so far since you sort of started boxing. So, from your perspective, I mean, what have you seen of Niall, and how do you break him down as an opponent?
I know he's got a lot more fights, a lot more experience than me, but I don't really know much about him, so I'm just going to go out there and do the best that I can possibly do, and then just whatever he thinks, I'll have to deal with it on the night.
And how hard's camp been so far? Because I know John, we've seen John in the corner of many sort of fights in the competition, and previously some of the likes of sort of his son Luke Cullen, who fought at the very highest level outside of Quest in the former Queensbury Boxing League. So, preparation-wise, with such a short amount of time to go, how do you feel in yourself?
I feel really confident. Like, we're training more than ever, harder than ever. I feel really confident, ready to go. Like, I'd love to come out, but obviously a week or two to start. So I feel really confident. Confident.
I know a lot of fighters I've been chatting to in the Road to Glory series, which we've been finding out about preparation, about tactics, and literally all of the fighters are hungry. They're ready to go. They're ready to step through those ropes now, and obviously can't wait to get it on. So, I mean, John, I'm going to come to you. You mentioned a little bit there about Jack and how quickly he absorbs information, how quickly he sort of he takes that on board. But in his development from his last fight to now, and also previously when he first sort of came to the club, what sort of improvements have you seen, and how far do you think he can go?
I think he can go all the way. He can go all the way. He can go right the way to that British title. As I say, I don't want to be arrogant, but when we do take this title, the next one, step, and we keep building him. With Jack, he did come to us as a white collar fighter. He'd had one semi-pro thereafter, and then obviously went on to the Queensbury. Once he'd done the Queensbury, a little funny story about Jack. Once he'd done the Queensbury, he won his debut fight on the Queensbury, very convincingly again. And we got back to the dressing room, and he said, "I think I'm going to give up." He said, "I think I'm going to leave in glory." So he actually gave up, and I didn't see him for what? 2 years,
maybe three years.
About 2.5 years. And his friend, who's working well over there at the moment, Jack Governor, who was on the last show as well, he was actually on a charity fight, and Jack come over to my corner, and because I was doing the corner on that fight, and he come over and he said to me, I'll come back. And to be fair, I was sort of, all right, Jack, and I think he'd had a few shandies as well. And then the following Tuesday, he was back in the gym, and he was ready to go. And then, of course, that's when you got your phone call, Alan. Get him on.
I think the thing with boxing is, it's such a hard sport. So to step through those ropes, to actually, be ready on fight night, it takes a massive. It's all consuming. Like I say, I talk to so many fighters, and so many say, when the training camp is on, it's all or nothing. It 100%. Consumes everything. It's like the focus from the moment you get up, work, but then after that, it's fight camp, it's training, it's your runs. It's an incredibly grueling and an incredibly intense sport, and I think people don't realise that to be ready to step through those ropes, to lace on those gloves, and put it all on the line on fight night. The commitment that it takes from both boxer and trainer, it's a massive thing.
If I was to tell you, Jack was actually at my house last night, and Mr. Govan was over there as well. They were there from 5 o'clock till about half eight at my house and my training area that I've got there as well. You can't ask more than that from a boxer to, Bank Holiday Monday, when most guys are out partying or out with their families or whatever. These guys are actually training their backsides off. I can't ask for no more than that.
Total commitment. John, I'll ask you, obviously you've seen a little bit more of Niall Nugent in the competition. Outside of Quest, great performance against a fighter called Luke Hawkins, who actually came on to sign with Quest Boxing League, and then he won the novice middleweight title. And last time out for Nugent, he had a great performance against Eugene Jukes. So, you know, what do you think the dangers are in this fight? We've seen the movement, you know, the sort of the sort of silky boxing from Jack. But what does Niall Nugent possess in this fight that could be the sort of the dangers?
I think he's unpredictable. I don't think he's unpredictable. He does throw unpredictable shots, which is what we're going to have to deal with, as Jack says in his words, deal with on the night. But I think we've had some of that sort of sparring already with some guys that have been very unpredictable in the way they throw. But again, when you actually see a guy throwing unpredictable shots, then it becomes predictable, because we'll then start reading what they're throwing next time. And when you know, like say, he's going double jab, backhand hook, you know that's coming, you know how to defend it, and you know how to then counter it. So I think Noel's, we're not taking anything away. We know Noel's a very good fighter, and you know, it's all on the night. We know that, everyone knows that. You know, you walk through the ropes. I've done it, my cousins have done it, Jack's done it. We walk through the ropes. We know that, you know, we've got to be better than that fighter. And like I say, my money's on Jack.
Well, you're going to be confident in your fighter, 100%. So, you know, as we kind of wrap it up there, like I say, I know that we are very, very close to fight night. I mean, just over a week to go. So, you know, final thoughts as we sort of lead into this.
Raring to go. Like.
We're trying to, he's like a little whippet. We're trying to keep him in the tracks rather than letting him out too soon. We've still got a week left of camp. We've still got a few little bits of polishing off, and we'll have that ready for the fight night.
Yeah, and I think one final note. I mean, I've got to say that the middleweight division, it's absolutely on fire. I mean, at the top of the tree, you've got the likes of sort of Chesney Hawkins. You've got the likes of Luke Hawkins down at the sort of novice, who's an exciting fighter. And then, as I say, on the same bill as yourself, you've got Jake Dove Lyons challenging for the national title. He's you know, against Killian Mills. So it is the division. Everybody's saying middleweight. It's the division to be in if you want to sort of be in a great fight. So you know, for the winner of this fight, there's so many possibilities. So as always, it's a pleasure speaking to you guys. And as I say, Jack Williams, he will be taking on Niall Nugent on Saturday, September the Downs Racecourse in Surrey on the high stakes promotion. And what is on the line is the vacant regional middleweight title.